I'm Rob Shields, and this is Peace Talks, the podcast that covers everything to do with competitive jigsaw puzzling. Before we had any idea what we were going to do for the 2025 Portland Jigsaw Master livestream, I put a call out to people who would be interested in hopping on the livestream and chatting for a brief bit. The thinking was that it would be fun to have some different perspectives on the world of speed puzzling. Some brave souls immediately raised their hands. In this episode, I pulled together 6 short conversations, as well as 3 additional short conversations with folks that I wasn't able to get on the livestream, primarily due to my own lack of planning. We discuss a range of topics, including what the speed puzzling scene is like in Australia, and what it's like to do the same puzzle hundreds of times. Some notes. Since many of these conversations were recorded live at the event while competition was going on, the audio quality isn't the best, and you'll hear us occasionally reacting to what was going on in the moment. Also, these conversations were recorded in July and August of 2025, so references to events in the future at that time are now events of the past, for example, 2025 World Competition, and references to last November were referring to 2024. The complete livestream can be found on YouTube at Portland Jigsaw Masters, where you can also hear interviews with winners and expert commentary by folks like Gene Reuter, Jim Eakins, and Evie Karen. Speaking of expert commentary, you'll also hear insightful questions from my co-host for much of the event, Carly Craig, who was brand new to competitive jigsaw puzzling. So, without further ado, let's kick things off with Hannah Beavis, who's going to talk about being a slow puzzler in a speed puzzle competition. As part of the things we're trying out here, we're bringing in other voices from outside the competition who have some perspective on the jigsaw puzzling world. I believe we have Hannah on the line with us. Hannah, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you just fine, Hannah. It's good to see you.
Hello, it's good to see you too.
Hannah, would you do me a favor and pronounce your last name? Because I didn't want to say it wrong.
So it's pronounced Beavis, but a lot of people guess Beavis first, but it is Beavis.
I was 100% going to guess wrong, so I appreciate that. So when I asked a few weeks ago if anybody would be interested in joining me on the live stream for some part of it, you raised your hand, which I deeply appreciate. So thanks for joining us. You offered up a whole plethora of topics that you thought we could chat about. And I'm really interested in the first one that you started with, which was talking about being a slower speed puzzler. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're thinking there?
I would love that. Rob, I feel like you and I are more kindred spirits. I'm an avid listener of Peace Talks, and I always appreciate when you talk about slower speed puzzlers, because I feel like we talk a lot about, the Andrea Pengs and the Evie Karens and the faster puzzlers in the world, but there are a lot of people who are speed puzzling who are not necessarily going to finish a puzzle in under an hour. And so I have tried very hard. I'm a competitive person. I ran through high school and most of college, or part of college, and I'm a pretty competitive person, but I have tried very hard to be okay with being mediocre in speed.
Sure.
Me too. I've had exactly that. I started off as, especially early on in the jigsaw puzzling time, I started off as being very excited that this is an accessible activity that I could get into and maybe do well, especially with some learning and some practice. Sure. And then I found out some people are really good.
Yeah. So, as much as I feel that I would want to get into the community and really go for it, I myself do feel that I'll probably be a mediocre speed puzzler. But, a girl can dream. Maybe I'll be just semi-mediocre.
So, Hannah, was that a process or journey for you, or were you just like, oh, okay, now I have a realization about where I sit?
There was a hope at the beginning, because you hear so many of the top speed puzzlers say, oh, well, when I started out, I was slow too, and now I can do a 500-piece puzzle in 40 minutes. And I was like,
sure,
maybe that will
there's
be
hope.
Me. It's not me.
And how long have you been puzzling?
I started speed puzzling, it would have been about almost 2 years ago. I think I want to say like November of 2023. Okay. But I think I really got into it last year. I've started doing it much more often. I bought my own table for puzzling specifically. I've got probably close to 100 puzzles that I swap out in puzzle swaps and stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. And I love your earrings. I have to comment on those. Of course, we love the puzzle fashion today. I myself actually have a mystery puzzle from the Portland Puzzle Company here in my acrylic bag. I couldn't fit all 250 pieces here, but we do have a bit in here. And I love the way that they sound as well.
Yeah, that's great. These are actually 2 extra pieces that I had from a puzzle of mine that my roommate made into earrings for me. So
That
they were,
is so thoughtful.
yeah, it was very, it was good. It was very fortuitous.
Very thoughtful gift. Love that, Hannah. So does your roommate puzzle as well?
I have sort of dragged them into puzzling with me.
Sure.
They are not into speed puzzling, but they are a very good sport. And so if we need like an extra person for a team event, they will often come with me. But I've sort of gotten to the point where I'm starting to make more puzzle friends who are faster than them. And they're like, you may go and speed puzzle with the faster speed puzzlers. So
sure. Well, and
it.
It seems, Hannah, that we have a few puzzlers here in the chat that are claiming that they are slow speed puzzlers, and they feel very seen.
Good. We should be seen. I need the slow speed puzzlers to be louder on social media.
And on Puzzle Talk. Yeah, let's get the slow speed puzzlers on Puzzle Talk.
Yeah, we should cheer the louder the farther into the competitions we get as people finish.
Right.
I do love the sort of the caboose puzzlers, like when you have like somebody at the very end who's just on the cusp of finishing. The crowd gets really excited. Because we're all like cheering for that person to try and make it across the line. And so often some of the biggest cheers come from the people who are near the end.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So Hannah, you also mentioned about burnout. So tell me a little bit about slow puzzling meets burnout.
I haven't hit burnout yet in puzzling, but I have been so interested. I'm a semi-retired sports journalist. So I worked in sports media for a long time, mostly hockey. And a lot of that was covering women's hockey, which is a sport that does not get a lot of mainstream media coverage. So it's a lot of coverage that sort of has to happen in addition to having a full-time job, sort of a little bit like I imagine speed puzzling reporting and stats. And so that was difficult to keep doing. And so I felt very burnt out. And so I've been very interested as I've gotten into the speed puzzling world, listening to the top puzzlers who do so many puzzles in so short of time. And there's so much pressure put onto them in these very big environments. Hit a burnout point. And for me, going into speed puzzling in particular, being okay with mediocre. The other thing was making sure that I wanted to make sure that I still enjoyed speed puzzling, because I'm also the sort of person that likes to dive into things head first, do them really hard, really fast, and then like get burnt out. And I did not want that to happen with speed puzzling. So I've been trying to be very intentional about like making sure that I'm doing some puzzles just for fun and not for speed, and trying to make more friends in the community with it, and keeping it as a hobby and not having it feel like a job.
Well, because having fun is the most important thing. And it seems like everybody has a shared passion. You want to keep it positive. You want to support your friends that are maybe even a bit faster, no animosity here in the puzzling community.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of the elite level puzzlers are increasingly taking the time to just, when they build up to an event like Worlds, they plan for the next couple of months off. They're not going to be doing any jigsaw puzzling. I was just talking with Victor Kaspacek from Poland, and he was like, I'm planning on taking the time off. And I know that other folks have done the same thing. So I think taking a break, especially if it starts, as you're saying, Hannah, if it starts to feel like work, that's probably the right time to step away for a little while.
Well, I just saw that Kristen Tub, who just won the World Jigsaw Championships this year, and everyone was very excited, is not going to be at Worlds this year. And is for a variety of reasons, it sounds like, not explicitly because of burnout, but I think we've sort of started to see that already, that like there are top puzzlers who are taking, or even not top puzzlers, who take a year off. It's a lot of money, it's a lot of time training, it's a lot of commitment to like go and do something like Worlds or Nationals. And so I think normalizing like taking a year off or taking some time to rest and recover and like not have where you're in competitive mode all the time. Like, I think we're going to start seeing more of that, and we should.
It's important to rest and restore no matter what it is that you're doing, speed puzzling especially. I can imagine you expel so much energy in preparing for the event, in actually completing the puzzle, and hitting your burnout point in the middle of the puzzle. The endurance really matters.
And we're seeing folks like Michaela Keener took a year off to sort of step away for a lot of reasons, like you're saying. I think that we're going to see fewer people going to Worlds from the U.S. for a lot of reasons. Some of it has to do with going to the same venue for several years in a row. But I think, Hannah, to your point, we are starting to see that become more normalized. People are just they're puzzling, they're really into the puzzle when they're doing it, but, they're going to step away and take a break when they need to.
Mm-hmm. And I think deciding like what you want to get out of puzzling too. Like if you like to go to the big events like Worlds and you're a competitive enough puzzler where you can maybe place, like maybe going every year is important to you and that's okay and that's what you can plan around. But for someone like myself or other slower puzzlers, like I'd love to go once, maybe, but I'm not one of the world's fastest jigsaw puzzlers. I'd go for the experience and then probably not ever go again unless something dramatic changed.
And something I'm noticing here on the floor, so we have a few more competitors still at work, but we do have some of our spectators have jumped in, and they are actually doing a puzzle for fun here on the side. So it's very obvious the passion here in the room. Everybody has a shared love and adoration for the art and the sport of speed puzzling.
Also, just to clarify, for the people who are watching who have maybe not seen speed puzzling before, this is not a slow time for a speed puzzle. Like I know a lot of the room has cleared out, but getting a speed puzzle in under an hour and 40 minutes, an hour and 50 minutes, 2 hours is still putting in a little, I think it's about 4 pieces per minute. So that's not, that's not.
Right. It seems like Andrea was averaging 11 pieces a minute. She was our prelim winner or our first finisher in this round.
Yeah, but it is challenging to compare yourself to the elite people. I love the elite people. I love to talk to them. I'm interested in hearing what makes them tick and how they do their things. But, we've talked about it in my house anyway. You wouldn't go into tennis and assume that you're going to be an elite level tennis player.
No.
And so, you can't compare yourself to that class of people. You may discover that if you get into jigsaw puzzling that you're actually really good, but you might find that for any sport, and it's not particularly likely. It's increasingly as we have more people in competitive jigsaw puzzling. So just figuring out where your comfort level is, how you're willing to sit with sort of the pace that you can do, and make sure that you're having a good time, and make sure you're enjoying doing the puzzle. That's the key thing. And a lot of the people who are experiencing burnout are talking about trying to reconnect with their joy. Right? They don't want to lose that. Just like you were saying.
Very important.
I think there was somebody on your podcast, Rob, recently who was talking about, and maybe I'm misremembering, maybe this is from something else. We're talking about they switched from a performance mindset to a different kind of mindset in their puzzling. Does that ring a bell?
Interesting.
It does. That'd be Michaela Keener, although it was also echoed by Kelly Walter a bit. In that Michaela made an explicit change. And I think actually Devin Donaldson, I had an accidental sort of trilogy of people focusing on their mental game. But you're right, Michaela Keener specifically moved from a performance mindset to a growth mindset.
Interesting.
So that she was specifically not trying to conquer the puzzle, but trying to learn as much as she could and do the best job. One of the things I love about the way Kelly Walter talks about doing the puzzles, Kelly Walter was the national champion this year, is that she explained that she's more focused on doing the best execution that she can of the puzzle.
Sure.
And wherever you net out, that's great, right? And so you could do really well in your heart about how you did the puzzle and not place as well, and that's fine.
Whatever happens, happens. It's really about the journey, not the destination, especially here at the Portland Jigsaw Masters.
All right, so Hannah, I want to hear your hot take about jigsaw puzzling in the Olympics.
Ooh. It's a bad idea and we shouldn't do it. And this is a hill I'll die on.
All right, bring it. Give us your best argument on that front.
No to the Olympics.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to give an argument that, doesn't have any holes in it. Just for me as someone who has covered sports and this comes into how do we operationally define a sport?
Sure.
But speed puzzling is so fundamentally different than a lot of the other sports that are at the Olympics that are more physical activities. And to be clear, speed puzzling is a sport. It is not an Olympics.
Speed puzzling is a sport. It is not an Olympic sport. You heard it here first.
I just think that if speed puzzling goes into the Olympics, this beautiful community that will already have been created will get a lot of mainstream media attention from people who don't quite get it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Totally.
I'm a little bit afraid about what that will do to the community that has been so lovingly crafted. And the community, like, you know, isn't perfect, but I think we've created a really nice little, like, vibe on the internet and in personal competitions. And I am afraid of what that will happen if we bring it to the Olympics. I think Worlds is plenty. I think we get everything that you would get at the Olympics at the World Championships.
I'm going to ask the chat what they think about speed puzzling at the Olympics. But Hannah, that is indeed a hot take. You know, we don't want something to become too commercialized. It loses its charm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Hannah, thank you for joining us. Where are you calling in from? I forget.
I am in Western Massachusetts.
Western Massachusetts. Yeah. And where can people find out more about you if they want to?
I'm on Instagram at hannah.beavis, Bevis. That's where I'm most active about puzzling. And I'm hoping to have a Twitch account soon to stream some puzzling, but I need a computer that can handle a little more bandwidth than the one that I have right now. So keep an eye out on Twitch in the next 2 months, and hopefully I'll be there.
Well,
Awesome.
Thank you, Hannah Beavis. That is at hannah.beavis, Bevis on Instagram. Thank you so much for joining us, Hannah, and for your unique perspective on this amazing, growing, beautiful sport.
Thanks for having me.
Since we recorded this conversation, Hannah has started streaming on Twitch. You can find her at _BEVY. Up next, previous Peace Talks guest, Zach Hill. On the line with us, Zach Hill from Zachco Puzzles. I believe you're out there. Zach, are you there?
Hey, I'm here. I see myself. How's it going, Rob?
Look what a festive background you have there.
I know we were kind of agonizing about what I should do. I had a more professional setup over at my desk, but no, this seemed festive, you know. It's day one of the tournament.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Carly, by the way.
Nice to meet you, yes.
Excellent job.
Thank you so much. Yes, and we are the fun competition, so you are right on the money with your decor.
So, Zach, for the folks who don't know who you are, or possibly Carly, why don't you give us a little quick hit on who you are?
Sure. My name's Zach Hill, and my company is Zacco Puzzle Boards. So we do everything jigsaw puzzle accessories. So boards, sorters, box top holders, and the last few years really a huge focus on speed puzzling. So we have a speed puzzling lineup, usually focusing on the idea of a 3-sided tray. But we'll get
Which I think we could see in the shot here, actually, in the background of the shot. Are those yours on the left hand in the back? See a couple of 3-sided blackboards.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good catch. Oh, yeah. You know what a Zacco looks like, Rob.
There it is.
No, I'm having a blast. And actually, you know, I always have my pen and paper here. And I love that this is recorded, too, so we can go back and look. I like to see the different strategies and kind of take my time, see who's using what. There's a really big world of jigsaw puzzle accessories you might not know of. So we're going to educate Carly a little bit right now, too, get her up to speed.
Actually, I want to start with one of the things that you've been doing that, has captured my imagination for the last couple of times that we've talked is that, and Carly's just vanished, by the way, I know that you provided the table dividers for nationals, and last I saw you'd iterated on those in a pretty cool way. Tell me more about where you are with that.
Well, luckily for these puzzlers today, they don't have to contend with sharing a table. I mean, this is ideal circumstance. You can really do that explosion type method, get the puzzle pieces wherever you want. But generally, that's not the case. Usually, this is pretty rare from my understanding. So the table divider that we brought to nationals solved the problem of piece transfer. So when there's a solos and pairs event, a lot of times the puzzlers will share a table, as we know. So blue tape is generally that method to draw a line in the sand or differentiate between side A and side B. But horror stories year after year about, I was looking for the last piece and it was over there on the other puzzler's table. I mean, we just cannot have that. I think the Reuters were telling me about a story last year. So, so I'm on a mission to end the blue tape divider and kind of come up with a professional, something a little bit more substantial. So we had a big success with that rollout at nationals. working with Becca and the team, and now we've made an iteration of that. So we're using a fancier material, and it's adjustable now.
Wow.
So we like where this is going. There will be that debut in August. It's kind of a secret at the moment. I don't know why it's a secret. It's self-imposed secret.
Right.
But,
it's just because it's so advantageous to any competition that has it that they don't want to let it leak.
Well, with the divider, the initial idea was to stop or prevent piece transfer. But what we noticed is the feedback was it actually created more space on the table because puzzlers were able to go up right to that border line, as opposed to when it's blue tape, it's not going to prevent any pieces from sliding. They'll stay away. So you're actually adding, at least a few inches to your overall puzzling area. So when space management is really key in this kind of event.
Yeah, we noticed that immediately at nationals when we were competing competing at a table that was divided. Is that usually, as he says, there's a blue tape. You've got to put your box sort of as close as you can and not invade the other person's space. And then when you had these actual physical dividers, you could just put everything right up to it. You didn't have to worry about it, and it did give you probably 3-4 inches of space on the side of your table. And when you're talking about a half of a regular table, right, every little bit matters. So yeah.
Yep.
But Zach, I know that you're always thinking about the kinds of problems that need to be solved in the puzzling community. What kinds of things are on your mind right now?
Every day it's a whirlwind, new ideas. And best part is, and I forget one of the guests mentioned this, was if you ask a question to the puzzle community, they will answer in detail.
Yes.
And it's been the best part of developing this company over the last 5 years is the amount of participation and feedback, and not to mention just absolutely great personalities, and in the sense too of patience, just quality folks.
Quality
so it's
people.
been easy. Yeah, and trying to fill a void in this space has been fun because it's really just gathering the feedback from what puzzlers want, and we're really not tied to any specific design for any product that we have. We're always trying to come up with the next generation, make it better, and also fulfill more needs. Every puzzler is different styles, so it really comes down to getting the right products for you, the right accessories, and using the rules to absolute benefit.
Right, and creating quality dividers for quality people, it seems. We have a bunch of puzzlers here in our comment section in the chat saying that they really appreciate the dividers and that the dividers were rad.
Awesome.
I would agree with that sentiment. I've lost entirely
Tools,
track
dividers, dividers and tools.
Well, last we talked, Zach, you had a number of things that were sort of in the works. Any progress? Anything that you can talk about?
I'm just glad that you blanked first, Rob, because I know that
This is my life, my friend. This is just how I live.
I had a feeling that was going to happen to me, so now you make me feel better. It does.
Yeah, that was the reason.
Which is why we love to puzzle, because it pulls in our concentration and our focus and helps train us with our hyperfixation on the puzzles themselves.
Well, my wife was telling me, because we have a new product that we're thinking of, not really much development, but looking around today, and this is an idea that comes from Tammy and Yvonne, and I think some of the other Golden State puzzlers, which is a transparent sorter, which you don't see a lot of out there. This would allow you to sort the pieces, but actually lay the tray on top of the puzzle without losing sight of the
Interesting.
puzzle. So that's something we want to explore. But everything that we do focuses around either 3 sides or less for easy piece transfer onto the main puzzle. So if you're going to be, especially when Teams comes up and you see this, well, space management is absolutely key. So usually everybody has a tray or a tray strategy. So, we just want to be able to provide the most amount of options.
The 3-sided trays are great because they give you an edge so that stuff doesn't fall off. You can sort onto them, but if you've assembled something or you just need to remove the pieces, that extra side you can just slide off. You don't have to bump things up over the top or lift them up, or they don't fall over or get turned over.
So here at the Portland Jigsaw Masters, the competition is fierce as ever. We have about, if my math is correct, 17 minutes remaining, or approximately 16 minutes remaining here in this round. Once again, beautiful community out here, and the community themselves are the ones that provide the feedback for the products, the dividers,
There's the three-sided divider
tools.
right there.
And here's a close-up now of a three-sided divider.
Right. Yeah.
One of the things I love is how plugged into the community you are, Zach. Like, not only are you a great sponsor, you sponsor this event, as a matter of fact. I invited you along before I even knew that, but I'm not surprised to find you here. But I love that I reached out to you, I think, at some point, and I was like, I really love your box top holders. But I have this challenge when I'm trying to plug something into it, and you're like, "Oh yeah, we have a fix for that. Here's a new version of that thing because we listened to the community and we were hearing that problem." So I just love how you're always thinking about like what is going on out there. How can we supply the people who are at every level of the competition with the thing they need to be most successful?
That's how they do it at Zatco.
That's how we do it at Zatco. Yeah, well, we're always that's how we're gonna make it here. So I think we're looking at, I think that's a masterpieces fold-out box top holder. A lot of the popular ones for these tournaments are super lightweight, it's easy to travel with. So that's something we're looking to incorporate too, just cutting down on the size. And but we started off as a kind of an heirloom puzzle board company, fine woodworking, and now that's started to transform into product development, inventions within the puzzle space, and trying to solve as many problems as possible. So we're having a blast.
Right, we're seeing here in the chat, people are saying the three-sided sorters are so handy too. Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, I'd say shout out to Sarah Does Puzzles, and he was the one who first came to me for that. Alyssa Zackler too, out west. So I sponsored both of them for the world competition 2 years ago. And that's when they first got traction. And since then, we've worked through a few different iterations, and I'm really happy about this new version that I have. The newer material, the way it comes together, lighter weight, absolutely flawless finish. And we were talking about matte versus gloss, satin. So everything that we do is matte as well. Right. So I think that's the right logic. It seems like it's overwhelming the amount of people that will say matte is preferred when you're trying to assemble it quickly.
Now, I don't remember seeing any like logo patches or anything that were Zatco sponsored for any of the people that you talked about.
No. Well, yeah, I got to get that together. But we definitely sponsored. We're always sponsoring with the accessories, but we have been starting to sponsor individuals for certain events. I mean, we just want to see this speed puzzling really proliferate and not lose momentum. So I'm trying to, it's good marketing for us too. So I prefer to sponsor an individual or a team than just run another ad. Although that's important too. But really want to help puzzlers get to these events, especially when, there's like you said, not a lot of money to be made and you have to pay for travel. So that's where companies like Zatco and Cobble Hill, White Mountain, I know, Ravensburger, of course, and really stepped up, Masterpieces. Really stepping up and doing what they need to do, which is sponsor.
Right. And it's all about giving back to our speed puzzlers because we can tell that everybody has a shared passion for it. Everybody is so joyful as they puzzle. I mean, every day they're puzzling. And we've got one more finisher coming up right now with our Everyday I'm Puzzling shirt.
I like the force of putting those last pieces in place. Like that speaks to like yes, I'm almost done.
The
I've conquered
intensity.
this thing.
Oh, yes. Yes, every day puzzling.
Hey, there's Minty too, Kelly.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. Kelly off to the side there. Yep,
Right,
there's a regular who's who of folks, and you see Gene Reuter in the background there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Portland Jigsaw Master draws all the big hitters.
So, Zach, aside from revolutionizing the speed puzzling tools out there, what else you have on the docket for the remainder of the year?
Oh, wow. Where do I start? First of all, I wanted to say hi, Mom. And I wanted to say I love you. And thanks to Debbie Hill. She was really the catalyst for getting this launched. I probably would have waited a few more years until everything was perfectly right.
Sure.
But she was the one who pushed me to get out there. And that was the best thing because I started getting real-time feedback and really able to prototype it. You know, I guess you want to call it real time.
Yeah.
Where instead of just waiting and doing focus groups, actually putting them to work in tournament. So what was your question?
What else do you have set up for the year? For what's the future of Zatco looking like?
Well, we have the New York State first in person in at least a long time with speedpuzzling.com. Jonathan, that's next weekend. OC Speed Puzzlers August 3rd. And then there's a Chicago, their first sanctioned event, the 19th, I believe. Don't quote me, but a lot. I mean, this is speed puzzling season, all going into Worlds, and then we're right into Nationals next year. It really doesn't stop.
It's speeding along.
It really is.
10 minutes to go. Let's keep puzzling.
We've got
Keep
10
puzzling.
minutes to go. That's Lane Weatherly you hear on the mic, one of our owners of the Portland Puzzle Company, who's putting on this beautiful event today. Zach, so you shouted out your mom. Anything else to add?
Hey, congrats there. No, not much to add. I'm just super pumped to have be on here. Thanks for inviting me, Rob. Go catch a break if you can. You guys are going back to back to back.
We are. I shoved 4 sandwiches in my mouth between the last break and this one. So who knows what the future holds.
Zach, tell people where they can find you.
Okay, we're at Zacko Puzzle Board, so it's ZAKCO Puzzle Boards, and that's on Instagram and Facebook, and soon to launch www.zackopuzzleboards.
Nice.
Zacko
You can find
Puzzle
us there,
Boards.
and our shop is on Etsy. You can find us on some other puzzle companies as well, but Etsy's primarily where we are.
Zach, thank you for taking some time to hang out with us today.
Nice to meet you,
Thanks
Zach.
Hey, nice to meet you too. See you around, guys. Good luck.
Yes, take care.
Fellow Portland area puzzler Davey Black has an unusual approach to speed puzzling, so I just had to know more about it.
All right, so this is David, yeah?
How are y'all? Yes,
Hi,
indeed.
David. My name is Carly. I don't know if you know Rob.
Just a little bit.
Little bit?
A little
Nothing
bit?
too
Okay.
Crazy. It's weird hearing my government name. Every time I see that,
Oh,
I'm like,
David. Are you
I go by
Dave?
Davey. Any version.
Davey.
All
I
right.
worked in an old folks home and they call me Daniel. And I'm like,
Oh.
close enough.
All right, Daniel, Dave, Lewis.
Exactly.
So welcome to the table. Welcome to the panel. So walk us through what brings you here today.
So,
I could tell you what brings him here.
Oh, and feel free to speak directly into that microphone.
Yeah,
Perfect.
so as we did the last couple of times, we're bringing on folks from different parts of the community to just come in, hang out, talk a little bit about their experience, talk about whatever is interesting for them. One of the things I love about Davey, so Davey's a member of the Puzzle Sharks, which is a very competitive team in the Portland area. We have a couple of key super competitive teams. Davey is a key member of one of those. He also runs the Monday night puzzle competitions for individuals and pairs, but none of that is important. The thing that is really important, and we started talking about this when we were watching you puzzle, is your approach to puzzling. So tell us a little bit about what it is that you do that is uniquely yours, and then maybe you can tell us the national story about how maybe that caused a little head scratching.
How you and the Reuter sisters almost gave me a heart attack. Yeah, I can go over that.
Can't wait to hear it.
I know. So you're the one, I've never heard anyone else call it this. So Rob was like, your Dead Reckoning is amazing. And I'm like, perfect. That's what I'll call it. I've never had a name for it.
And Dead Reckoning is when you know right where something goes and you place it without other context, really.
Yep.
Okay.
So I get the puzzle box, open it, dump it out, and start building the puzzle. I do not flip. I do not do any of that. I just start throwing things where they are. I will look at the image. Usually what I do is start picking out colors that speak to me,
Sure.
for a lack of a better word.
Sure.
Right. So in the mushroom puzzle we were watching, you pulled out the reds.
Reds, I was like, okay, I don't know what it is yet. I'm going to start pulling the reds. It looked over and was like, mushrooms. Okay.
Yep.
Mushrooms and strawberries. And the strawberries I didn't notice at first. I was like, red with dot strawberries. Okay. So then I kind of started separating them. And I figured early on, like the strawberries they're separated a bit, so I don't want to work on those at first. I'll start with the mushroom.
Mm-hmm.
But it is very strange. Mary Powell from BLEM,
The Portland team?
Yes, our arch rivals.
Oh, okay.
I know.
So there's some competition here.
Exactly. She was volunteering as a judge.
Oh.
And she told me afterwards, she was like, 30 minutes in, I walked by your table and you still had most of the pieces not flipped over. And she was like, I've heard about this from people. I've never seen it. And she was like, this is the strangest thing I've ever seen.
That you don't flip all your pieces right away.
Yep.
So I was watching you flip over the red piece, or not flipping. I was watching you pull out the red pieces of the mushroom cap, and I'm like, you don't flip over all the pieces, so you don't know if you have all of the pieces. And you were starting with basically a big sea of red. How do you work through the actually starting to assemble that because a lot of people get tripped up when they don't have a complete thing, especially if they're working in what's basically amounts to a solid color block. How do you get through that?
Jessa Douglas and I were talking about this earlier because she was fascinated by it as well.
Right?
And I was like, if you are the kind of person that some people work in one corner and go out, everyone has their thing. If you need order and structure in your life, Dead Reckoning is not for you.
Okay.
I will say
Understood.
that to everyone out there. It is for...
Protect yourself.
It is for the people that love chaos and that can thrive in chaos.
But how do you dead reckon a color block?
So it's with that, I realized early on, like, okay, there's a darker side to it. There's a lighter side.
So there was a gradient in there.
There was a gradient in the red. It wasn't a big block of red, but let's say it was just one solid color of cherry red. I would kind of piece those together. And because it was random cut, I can some of these shapes do go together. My favorite part of Dead Reckoning, when I don't do that, I look at certain areas and I'm overwhelmed by them. So it's like, oh, there's this one dark area that's murky and I don't know what to do with that. I'm going to leave that to the end.
Sure.
But when you do this method, you're kind of like, okay, these are the murky pieces. They kind of go, oh, okay, some of them do go together. I am figuring this out. It becomes less overwhelming in my chaotic brain.
Absolutely.
So you're working primarily with the face-up pieces. I noticed you didn't even spread out the face-up pieces, so there may be other face-up pieces underneath the ones that this is just pure chaos. And so at some point you've exhausted the bulk of what's there, and then you just start flipping them over and placing them as you flip them?
So the reason I keep them in a kind of concise pile is so that I can do mass flipping. Mm-hmm. Because at that point, even if there's one piece that's facing up, in my mind, it's more concise to flip over 10 pieces and now have one that's upside down.
Sure.
So I will take big chunks and flip them all at one time. And so Nationals, the first and third round were pretty tricky puzzles, and there were 10 plus people in each of those rounds that did not finish the puzzle.
Wow.
So they made it to finals by piece count.
Wow.
I finished in an hour 6.
Wow.
And was 66th. And 66 people made it to finals.
Wow.
So at an hour 6 in first and third, I was talking with some of the judges and they were like 10 people had finished in the other two. So that is how much of a difference. The second puzzle was much easier and the times were so close.
Sure.
But as I flipped out the piece and I was like, I'm doing this. Don't panic. You'll feel like other people are going much faster than you. When you watch Dead Reckoning, at the beginning, you're like, they're not getting anything done. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, at the 20, 30 minute mark, it's like, oh, shoot, they're more than halfway done with the puzzle, typically.
Sure.
But I felt the judges, they'd walk by and I would feel them stop and take a few steps back and look over and just stare. And I was like, oh, gosh.
We listen and we don't judge.
Exactly.
We look and we do judge.
And when talking with Mary, I'm like, I know that's people are like, I've never seen this in a comp. This is very strange. Unless you've done the puzzle 20 times and they're like, oh yeah, I know all of this, but we've never seen these images before.
Sure.
So I was talking with Rob and the Reuter sisters after that, and I was like, yeah, I squeaked in with finals. And the Reuter sisters were like, wait, you don't flip the pieces? That's amazing. We need to tell them to get this on camera. And Rob was like, absolutely. They were talking about you at Nationals, and I was like, Oh,
Right.
no.
You're that guy that doesn't flip.
Yeah, because you
You're
said
anti-flip.
you said things like when you do Dead Reckoning, when one does Dead Reckoning, when we have done, like the people who do. I don't think there is anybody else who does this. Have you ever seen somebody who does this?
I was talking with your amazing wife. I don't know of one other person that's made it to finals at nationals that has done this before. I could be wrong. There could be someone in like 1987 that I'm not aware of.
Right.
But at least in the speed puzzling community, which is, of course, a newer sport, it seems that this is the method to the madness that works for you. And maybe, who knows, some spectators here in the live stream might be taking on this method eventually.
Well, so a couple of things that you said, which is correct, that people who have done a puzzle a lot of times will often do exactly this method. So Irina, who was up here earlier, who has the fastest time on record for a 500-piece puzzle because she did Rainbow Cat so many times, you watched her video of her record-breaking run, and it is exactly that. She dumps it over, she starts moving the pieces she can see, and then she starts moving the pieces, flipping over the pieces that remain. So it's the same approach, except that she has done this puzzle, she said something like 100+ times.
Right.
Davey's doing it for the first time. Brazen approach. But I have gone out on a limb and said that my belief is that in the next 10 years, we will see somebody sub 20 a competitive 500-piece puzzle. And I think there is some genius underneath the madness of Davy's approach, because I think that if you're going to do something like that, you really have to be willing, you have to find efficiencies everywhere you can.
Sure.
And it means being able to look at a puzzle, relate it to the pieces that you have, pull the pieces you have, assemble the pieces you have, and then flip them all in a group. So I part of the reason, you could just be a madman, but it's hard to see underneath those layers.
Well, it's like a beautiful mind, right?
There's a glimmer of genius in there somewhere.
Vision.
My therapist would say absolutely.
right, exactly. So do you have a favorite moment from today?
I had a perfect vantage point of Zin's win.
Oh,
because
fabulous.
I was the table right behind her. And
Yes.
I was like, okay, I should look away from her because I'm going to be tempted. I want to watch Zin.
Yeah.
Zin has puzzled with Puzzle Sharks many a times.
Sure.
We had a derby last year, and it will be marked on my gravestone one day. I beat Zin by 17 seconds in that.
Oh, well,
And
that's something to be very, very proud of.
I talked with her afterwards. She was like, I've never done a Portland Puzzling Company puzzle before. And I was like, this is the last time I'm ever beating you.
Right.
But-
So off she goes to the races.
And I was talking with people, and they were like, oh, she was in second place most of that puzzle. And it was the last 30 seconds that
She really
she
came
kicked
through.
it into high gear.
It's true.
So I can't wait to watch the live stream later. And
Oh, yeah, and recap? Absolutely.
Oh,
And
All right, I got one last question for you, Davies. Given your chaotic style, how are you to puzzle with as a pair or team?
So I play well with others.
sure.
It's so fascinating. Maggie Kirkland on our team is an incredible all-around puzzler, and she adapts so well with other people, and she can learn really quick, like, oh, this is how they puzzle. I like to think I'm a watered-down version of that, where I can typically pick up on how someone else is doing pretty early on in our puzzling.
Sure.
But I adapt to others. I love puzzling with different people. And Mary, after we were discussing this, she was like, I want to puzzle with you. And I want to do this method with you because this is very, like, I want to know what goes on in your brain as you're doing this.
Sure.
And I puzzled with Maggie. It was my birthday wish.
Oh,
I was
nice.
like, I want to do
that.
a puzzle together. And she was like, I don't get what's going on. She was like, there are pieces everywhere. Like, what is happening? And like halfway through the puzzle, she was like, okay, I see it. Like, I get why you put everything here.
Right.
It's crazy, but I get it. But typically,
Right.
I'm like, oh, if you work well if you need to do the border, we'll do that. I
Right.
adapt with others.
Right. And so do you feel that since you've taken on speed puzzling, I mean, when exactly did I'm sure you've puzzled for a good amount of time of your life. And when did speed puzzling become a sport for you?
So with my watered down Texas accent, I am from West Texas, and I hate the sun, I hate heat, and I hate sports.
Okay.
So most summers I was inside reading, playing video games, and doing puzzles.
Not even knowing that one day speed puzzling would actually become a sport, and now you do love sports. Sport in particular.
Exactly, where I was like, not my thing.
Right.
And I love watching the live streams of the puzzle. Like, it's fascinating.
Therapeutic.
It's so amazing to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my friend last January was like, have you heard of speed puzzling? I was like, oh, I've seen a bunch of stuff on YouTube. I watched Worlds this year. He was like, we're going to start timing this. Shout out, JD.
All right, JD.
Yeah.
And I was like, sure, okay, I can do that. Had a blast. And the first time we got the nationals puzzles, and we're like, we're going to do this in like an hour, 15 minutes. I've done puzzles my entire life. It was like close to 3 hours.
Oh, fantastic.
There's a learning curve. You have to, like, you can't just like, oh, I'm going to find this one exact piece.
Mm-hmm.
You really have to train your brain, and whether it's flipping that you do or whatever your method is, you have to hone in those skills.
Absolutely.
Even with Dead Reckoning, there's certain puzzles where it's like a quarter of this is sky. What do I do? Where I'm now like, okay, as I'm doing certain things, I'll flip as I'm going.
Right.
So you kind of have to learn to be adaptable.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm so glad to finally meet you, the man, the legend himself.
I'm looking through what I assume are the live stream comments.
Please take a look. This is our chat, our live streamers.
Someone said I'm basically a jock now, which...
You are basically a jock now.
Under I beat Zin once, I'll put that, was definitely a jock.
I'm basically a jock now. And that's a suggestion from one of our sponsors, Zach at Zachco Puzzle Boards. He's the one that makes the 3-sided puzzle boards for us. And yes, we've seen lots of interesting contraptions out here today. Do you have any sort of puzzle boards that you typically use for your Dead Reckoning, or do you just kind of do your thing?
So it's part of the adaptability thing where a lot of other people have like, oh, I use this. And I'm like, okay, we can incorporate that. Yeah. Yep. I am all about giving that a go.
Fantastic.
You don't know if you're good or bad at it until you try.
Right.
All right, Davey, thank you so much for coming up and explaining your chaotic style. I'm super thrilled that we got to hear that explanation, and I can't wait to see how that plays out the rest of the weekend.
Oh, it was my honor.
Where can people follow you if they need more chaos in their life?
Yeah, so Puzzle Sharks do have an Instagram. It's Puzzle Sharks. Yay.
Yay, Puzzle Sharks. Easy. Make sure to give them a follow at Puzzle Sharks on Instagram. And have you been a guest on Peace Talks yet?
One of these days. Once he gets through like the bottom of the barrel after he's... It's like,
It'll be the middle of the barrel.
Perfect. The top 500 puzzlers in the world.
Yes.
I'll go to Dave.
Next up, Emily Frost, who is also known as the Casual Puzzler.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Emily.
Hello.
Hi.
You guys are so fancy with your headsets.
Yes, of course. And feel free to speak right into the microphone.
Get right up in there.
Sounds good.
So my name's Carly. This is Rob. I don't know if you know one another.
How are you doing, Emily?
Yep, met him a couple times.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's so nice to see this puzzle in person.
Yeah, what do you think of this one?
Well, I helped choose it.
No, you did.
Wow.
That's right. You have a relationship with Goodway.
Yeah, so I work for Puzzle Warehouse, and Goodway is their licensing company. And so I was able to be in the deciding factor for it.
What did you look for in choosing this puzzle?
Well, I never saw the final image until now. I had seen the individual paintings.
Oh, so they're
okay.
Were they large paintings?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So they're all 12 individual, and I was like, well, it'd be cool if we did a collage because it's a little bit easier.
Of course.
And so they were like that. We love that. So they put it all together. So it's kind of fun to see it all in one little
Fantastic.
picture.
Nice. And so do you feel like it played out the way you sort of expected it to?
I was hoping it was going to be easier because there is a big section of dark.
Yeah.
So I was worried that some people would be like completely stumped, but there are differences in color, which I think if you're good at seeing that, it would help you out a lot. So
yeah, and it turned out to be the fastest of the three.
yeah, I know. I was surprised of like what the top 10 was like so close to each other in like under an hour. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so fast.
Yeah.
So why do you think that is? Between the two of you, you guys are the puzzle experts here. Why would you think that this would go a bit faster than our other illustrations from this weekend?
In general, I believe collages are just easier for most puzzlers.
Sure.
Because you have very distinct areas, and especially with the one section where it's all those light pieces are very clearly one or another. Once you have that border set, you can just like easily piece where that's supposed to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And do you have a favorite section of the puzzle or a favorite illustration or zodiac sign here?
I was loving Virgo, the light in the corner. It just is so sweet and pretty, and I love like the soft pastel. But I know Susan, who's the Goodway owner, she really likes, I don't know which one this is.
The Ram?
Yes.
Aries?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's her favorite.
Yes. So do you speed puzzle yourself?
Yes.
Yeah,
but
she was out there puzzling in earlier rounds.
Oh, that's right.
I'm always just here for the vibes, though.
Definitely.
My channel's the casual puzzler, so I'm just here
Casual
to like
puzzler.
have fun, and if I finish, cool. If not, like that's fine too. Like I just want to see people. I've met so many other different events, so it's kind of see them like in person again, and it's more just like a reunion versus.
Yeah, that's the great thing about competitions is they're often as much a social gathering as they are an actual competition.
Yeah, because even if you're not puzzling here, you may like be going out to lunch with a group of people, or you're in your hotel room puzzling with people, or even just like seeing people walking down the street. You know exactly who they are because they're wearing the same green shirt as you. So it's kind of nice.
Yes.
To like, oh, hey, you're here for puzzles, and it's easy to pick up a conversation, even though like most of us are probably introverts, like alone in our dining room. When you get together, it's so easy to make conversation and say, hi, hello, like you're here for the puzzle competition.
Through the common love of the sport of speed puzzling, of course. And so we were also hearing that some competitors will be stepping away today to go vintage shopping, maybe to try to find some puzzles out in the various thrift shops here in Portland. And I do have here in the chat that you won a Puzzle Culture Award voted on by the puzzle community.
I did. Yes, that was fun.
Okay.
Unexpected. It was just like an online voting thing that people nominated people, and I was one of the nominations.
So it's Rose's award?
Yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
On the title. I mean, that's a big deal, a Puzzle Culture Award.
I know. Apparently it's supposed to be for those who like get people together.
Yes.
And my channel is very like open, like if, no matter what difficulty you are, if you're a brand new puzzler who only does 300 versus people who are crazy puzzlers who do like 15,000, like you're welcome there, like no
15,000.
Yeah.
So what kind of surface area does someone operate on for a 15,000 piece puzzle?
I was actually talking to someone recently because they had bought one, and I was like, where is this going? And apparently she had got like this huge conference table from her work that they didn't need.
Wow.
And so it's down in her basement. She's like, I don't mind if it's there for 2 years. Like it has its spot. I'm like, that is pretty magical.
That is pretty magical. I would guess maybe, or a pontoon boat.
Right?
Right? Where else?
You're like, maybe if you
Any
have
other
a
flat
giant
surface.
barn and you have like a giant floor to do it on.
I was going to say, floors is often where I see the big ones. Yeah.
You're just like sitting on top of it.
Wow.
So what's your advice to folks? You said that your channel caters to all kinds of people. What is your advice to folks who are maybe not contending for the World Speed Puzzle Championship with respect to competitions like this?
I feel like you just need to try it. Or in general, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Even if you just want to do a small local event versus going to something like this massive and this grand, like it's easy to just, again, meet people. And then when you're here, you can learn strategies from other people. And I feel like even if you're not competing, you're just like a bystander, just seeing how they do speed puzzling.
Sure.
Yourself to at least get the courage to do it yourself.
Definitely. We still do have quite a handful of puzzlers here on the floor. We've got about 23 minutes remaining here for this prelim round 3 individual event.
It's so nice to see that most of them are going to finish. Like, it's always nice to see them have enough time to
Absolutely.
do it.
Absolutely. And so talk a little bit about the Puzzle Warehouse. Tell us what you do over there.
So I'm their social media manager.
Okay.
I reached out to them. Well, I was an ambassador for years, and I reached out to them in November. I was like, hey, no one's doing your social media. I can tell. So
Totally.
they had a conversation with me. I got on the payroll, and I've been with them since December.
Well, congratulations on the
Thank
gig. And
you.
it brought you here to the Portland Jigsaw Masters.
I did. Well, I am also just up north of Seattle. So it was very
Right.
close.
So you're pretty close. Very
Yeah.
nice.
I was there last weekend and got to be in the actual distribution center where there's like 100,000 puzzles in stock.
That must be
And
nice.
so as a puzzle enthusiast.
I was in heaven. It was lovely.
Puzzle heaven, that is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
Did you see Karen Puzzle's video when she went to Ravensburger and they had that?
Yes.
It looked like the Raiders of the Lost Ark sort of storage system, but also super modern. I can't imagine having just all of those puzzles around. And
It was so much fun. And especially when you go in there, you're expecting like maybe to have all Ravensburger together, all White Mountain together, they're all Gold Hill together. But everything's just kind of everywhere because everything has their own unique barcode. So whenever they get shipment in, they just put it on an empty shelf. So
Yeah.
it's like you may be looking for a specific puzzle for ages, but they have a system that they can find it in just a couple minutes.
yeah, I think Amazon does their
very similar.
senders that way. It's just they put everything on a shelf, tell it what shelf it's on, and then when you have to go find it, you go find it.
Yeah. So
Right.
it was funny because on the weekend I was a part of their events. I didn't get to shop at all. And then Monday I was like, can I just like go down the aisles and shop, but the registers weren't there anymore. And they're like, that's fine. You'll figure it out. So I was there for like 3 hours, just like walking the shelves and like grabbing
indulging the puzzles.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh, it was so much fun.
And so we have an Annalie Franklin here in the chat suggesting that the Goodwill on Lombard in North Portland always has a great selection of puzzles. So if people are looking for suggestions and are local to Portland, make sure to check out the Goodwill on Lombard if you want some unique and maybe even possibly vintage puzzles.
If you are local to Portland, there is an amazing puzzle swap that happens twice a month.
Oh, puzzle swap.
Once in North Portland, like in the area that you're talking about, and once on the other side of town. But there are thousands of puzzles and hundreds of people. And so you can walk in and their advice when you come in the door is please take as many puzzles as you possibly can.
Love it.
Because any puzzles you don't take, we have to store. And they store thousands of puzzles.
Right.
So
that's awesome.
I can't remember the name of the place right now. If I can look it up, we'll
bring it back for the next round.
If you're in the Portland area, it is an amazing resource for puzzle swap.
That is amazing. We had a puzzle swap just in the Seattle area. And the people who were hosting it, they're like, please just take any puzzles. Like, we don't want to bring them back with us. Right. But it's definitely a nice way to be involved in the community and get new puzzles at the same time. Because I'm someone who doesn't normally redo my puzzles. So when I do it, I'm just like, all right, what are we going to do with this now? So it's nice to give it away to somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
Spread the love of puzzling throughout Portland and subsequently throughout the world.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, lots of people have sort of relationships where they mail puzzles off to other people, swaps and that sort of thing. So swap doesn't have to be local to your area. A lot of people are doing it via the regular old mail.
Yep.
International swaps brought to you by FedEx.
I'm not as familiar with international swaps, but I bet they do happen. I know that when the Nationals came, those puzzles came out and they were new puzzles. A lot of European folks were clamoring to get their hands on it. So I bet you a lot of puzzles went overseas.
I also know, especially for brands like Ravensburger, where they have specific catalogs for the region, I'm always like, can I have a friend who's in like France that can make me some puzzles? That'd be great.
That's right.
We got another finisher out here on the floor. Very nicely done.
How was the puzzle you did yesterday?
Oh, I had the mushroom.
Yeah.
And I liked it.
I loved
it was
that
so
puzzle.
Fun. But for me, I get distracted by the image because I'm like, this is a great time. Like, I'm having so much fun. Then I forget that I'm speed puzzling. So.
Right, that you're competing. Yes, of course.
Yeah. And then there's like someone next to me who was like, because I was around the edge and she was like bopping to the music and I was like distracted by that. But it was just so much fun and bright and colorful and I loved it.
I mean, that does speak to the vibe here at the Portland Jigsaw Masters. What we prioritize here is that all of our competitors are not only having an ideal working space, the true VIP luxury experience, but also that they are having a blast while competing. So much so that they almost forget they're even in a competition.
Pretty much, but it was a good one. And I'm also in the mindset, like, once you get close, like, the cameras are on you.
Right.
So I don't want to be in a section that I'm going to be struggling with. I don't want to be that person who's on this camera, like, trying for the same 6 pieces over and over. So I was like, I'll save that section because I know I can do it, and I'll work on this giant stem instead. So
yeah, it's definitely, I've talked to a lot of people, myself included, who are like, you just got to, as soon as the camera comes, you got to look busy.
Yeah. You might, like, have a little section of puzzle pieces where, like, I know where these go. This is for, like, when I'm on camera.
Yeah. So, like, we have a couple of cameras in here that are just mounted to the ceiling and pivot around, which is great because it doesn't get so in your face. Or I think this is probably one of those camera angles, by the way.
Yeah.
But then we do have a camera on the floor, and so I can imagine there's a lot of people having that experience where the camera comes up and they're like suddenly needing to do anything.
Especially when they're there for a while and you're like, I must be doing great. And then they turn around and you're like, guess not.
So if I'm counting correctly, it looks like we've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-ish competitors remain. And we do have Minty Feather here in the chat, Rob, saying that it's the Portland Puzzle Exchange.
Yes, thank you.
Is the name of that puzzle swap Rob was speaking on.
Excellent.
So if you've completed a puzzle and you've had your fun, you can pay it forward by swapping your puzzle with somebody else at the Portland Puzzle Exchange.
I do love seeing other people's puzzle exchanges where it's just like 10 cars in a parking lot and everybody's got their trunks open.
Yeah. There's one that's near me because we have a really small community because I'm north of Seattle. And there's just like 10 people who go in, they're there for like 5 minutes and they like leave. And it's like this weird like back alley like situation.
A quick swap.
They're opening up their trench coat with a bunch of puzzles
like,
just
hey,
hanging out.
Do you want a new puzzle? I've had some.
Some go to the quick stop, others go to the quick swap, puzzle swap, that is, in a back alley.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's still a good time.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just was watching this gentleman glance up at the camera because I bet he's feeling the presence of the cameraman
A bit of pressure.
right in front of him.
Yep.
Do you practice for speed puzzling, or are you mostly like you go to competitions because you enjoy puzzling and it's just a thing that you can do to do that?
I sometimes practice, but I feel like it's not the same. Like, even though I have usually a camera on me, like I have my cats there, my husband there, and so it's like completely different. So I only speed puzzle practice like close to an event, but this time around I didn't because I was traveling so much.
Mhm.
But yeah, I probably would be a little bit faster if I actually took the time to improve my strategy, because me not using my left hand the whole entire time is not quite the best.
Not ideal.
More hands is better usually. Yeah.
So we're nearing up on 15 minutes left.
I feel like they're all in a very similar
Place.
It
Yeah.
does feel that way.
Looks
yeah.
like they've all got they're between 30 and 40 pieces left.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if we can get a shot. There's a shot of the woman that we were looking at earlier wearing a green shirt. And we were commenting earlier on how she had built the frame and then all the pieces were in the middle. And so we were interested in seeing how that evolved.
How that played out.
Yeah, and it looks like if we can get a shot of her, we've got a shot of her. We can just get it over onto the actual stream side of things. Looks like she's made that work for herself.
That's nice. I sometimes I try to flip away to like one side.
Sure.
But sometimes I get in the habit of like putting it all there and I'm like moving everything like halfway through. You're like, oh, well, I just wasted like 15 seconds.
Myself, 15 seconds is not going to make a huge difference. Are you the kind of person for whom 15 seconds is going to matter?
I'm just like, as long as I finish, I'm fine. If I don't finish, I'm also fine. Like, I'm just here to have a
Absolutely.
good time.
You're here to have fun at the Portland Jigsaw Masters.
Pretty much.
Brought to you by the Portland Puzzle Company and Cobble Hill Puzzles, among other sponsors. And we have Emily here from the Puzzle Warehouse as well.
The Casual Puzzler on YouTube.
That's me.
Tell us a little bit about your channel.
So I do a little bit of everything. I right now just got a 13,000 piece puzzle, which was super fun. So that's going to be a new little project. But I also really love supporting those who are brand new to puzzles. So a lot of my puzzles are usually 300 to 500 pieces. I have RA, so I have sometimes difficulty maneuvering pieces in general. So I just like having that support from other people who are in the similar situation where they may be struggling to do a normal 1,000 piece puzzle. So to kind of like normalize, a 300 large piece puzzle is totally fine too. Like
RA being rheumatoid arthritis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
large pieces are great.
Yeah.
So make sure to subscribe, everyone. If you're tuned in, make sure to subscribe to the Casual Puzzler on YouTube. That's Emily's YouTube channel, The Casual Puzzler.
Emily, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Emily.
Irina Shvedchenko had already been on the live stream to talk about her earlier performance in the competition. She returned this time to talk about her experience with the 2024 USA JPA Speedrun competition.
Irina, come on up.
Hi again.
Hello.
Long time no see.
Long time no see. You're a you're a series regular, recurring character here on the Portland Jigsaw Masters live stream. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So before we get into, Irina's joining us as part of the series of bringing people on from throughout the puzzle community and talking just a little bit about what some certain areas of interest. But what did you think about this puzzle before we get into that?
It was awesome. We were having lunch and eating sushi and had the live stream on the side.
Oh.
And we were like actively like clapping in the restaurant and everyone's like, what? But we loved it. Like while looking, and we just did it with my pair for fun.
Oh, that's so fun.
That's why I was a little late.
You and Diana?
Yes.
And what do you love about it the most?
I mean, I think that like collages in general are so much easier to like split up and just like you have a little group that you can work on and it's just easy to do that as a pair.
We saw that.
But in general, it's like the colorfulness, like it's just very like playful and fun, I think. So I really enjoyed that.
So as far as Cobble Hill Puzzle Company, are you familiar with the latte version of this puzzle?
I really like that one too.
Right. And so we did have Allegra of Cobble Hill Puzzles up here with us, and she is the artist behind those two designs. So she actually took some pictures of her own coffee cups and then found stock images of the latte art and composited those in. And then as far as this puzzle goes, this is actually live action food photography. So she went and she staged all of this here and put them on the backgrounds. And so shout out to Allegra for the attention to detail because obviously the joy felt is very obvious here in the room surrounding this particular design.
Yeah, and I love the like little animals and little like designs on the actual macarons.
Yeah,
So cute.
We had a couple favorites. Mine was probably the little maple leaf at the bottom.
I like the bee and the little
bee
pumpkin on the side are orange.
Very sweet, very pleasant.
One of the things I wanted to chat with you about, speaking of Cobble Hill, is that every year the U.S. Jigsaw Puzzle Association puts on the speed round.
Yes.
And so you have competed in that.
Yes.
I've alluded to that more than once on this live stream. But tell us a little bit, give us a little sense of what that is, and then we can talk about how you've engaged with that.
Yeah, so every year, I think it's only been a couple years at this point.
I think we're on year 3, maybe.
Yeah. But the USAJPA puts on like one puzzle and they release it at nationals, and they're like, this is the puzzle you can do all year and take as many attempts as you want to try to get the fastest time you physically can. And so
something captured your imagination this time around. Did you engage in the first one much?
Not the first one, but the second one, because I didn't even know about speed puzzling the first time.
Right. So I have that puzzle here.
Oh, wow.
Rainbow Cats.
Right
the
here,
Rainbow Cats puzzle. And,
oh, how adorable.
And Arena, you put on an exhibition with a couple other folks yesterday
did.
about this one. But tell us about your journey with this, because I find it deeply fascinating. So you decided that you would try this.
Yep.
What made you decide to try it more than once?
So I am pretty competitive, so that helped. But initially I tried it, and my first time was like 55 minutes or like close to an hour. And I was like, okay, it's a little hard, but whatever, we'll try again. And I tried it a couple times. But I think what really started getting me more into it is me and my partner, Diana. So we both kind of like started doing it around the same time. And we were really egging each other on the entire time. So we'd like text each other, be like, oh, I just got this time. Like, oh, did you get under 30? And they're like, yeah. So we'd like, and for a couple of months, we have this just like chain of text messages like, oh, I just did it in this time. And then I think that's what really got both of us, but me included.
So you guys were just egging each other on.
And then kind of, I think it was December or something, Nicole, who was the third person we did the run with yesterday, kind of showed out of nowhere and had a really, really fast time. And we're like, wait a minute, who is this? And so we kind of had a three-way egging each other on, which was super fun. And I think the only reason we got it to the low times we got was because there was kind of this internal competition between the three of us.
Which is amazing. So how many times did you end up doing this puzzle?
I honestly lost, I only started recording my fastest times after a while because it kept getting worse. It takes a bit to...
Well, so tell us about that, because that's actually really interesting. So it's not straight, you get better every time.
No, and you can, so I probably did it more than 200 times over the course of a couple of months.
Wow.
But you have to try different strategies. So what I found eventually is the strategy that worked for me was literally just dumping all the pieces and just grabbing a handful and placing them exactly where they belong, because I knew it so well.
Sure.
But there are other strategies you can do. Like Nicole, the other person who was doing it, she actually flipped them and sorted them and then really quickly assembled it.
Really?
Yeah.
So you can flip and sort in
18 minutes or something.
Yeah, 18 minutes.
Incredible.
I was going to say. So tell us what the time is that you finally ended up with this.
So my final time was 17 minutes and 44 seconds.
Which is flying. I did not know that was humanly possible.
Me neither, honestly.
So you have, I believe, the fastest puzzle logged on myspeedpuzzling.com for 500 at 17:44.
Wow, I'm in the presence of a celebrity. I had no idea.
You have no idea. That rocked my world to see how fast a single human could push to the edge of this. Do you think that there was more you could squeeze out of that, or is that literally?
I don't think so.
Were you just doing it near the end a bunch of times?
Yeah, you just do it.
Follow in the right way.
Exactly. I think it ended up being once I knew all the pieces, and you just do it. If you do it as many times as you can, you're hoping it randomly helps.
It's almost muscle memory at that point, right?
Sure.
And you know exactly how to sort them and get them all organized.
And you're just relying on luck at the end to try to what you can see when you flip it, and try to grab as what you can from right away, and then try to fill in the holes. But.
So as you were working your way through various strategies and tactics to get to faster and faster things, were you constantly thinking, okay, well, I can improve this, I can improve this, or I should try this whole other way? Were you constantly thinking about how to do it better?
I think I'm not as much, I think. Initially, it was just mostly memorization. So I found that even doing it slowly once or twice just to really remember where the pieces were, that was the biggest initial challenge. And then once I have it fully memorized, I was seeing what other people were doing. I was trying to look through the YouTube videos to see what strategies other people were doing. And I would try them, but usually it ended up being a lot slower than
I was gonna ask, what's an example of something that didn't work for you specifically?
Like this flipping and sorting them did not work for me. I was way slower doing that. And then I think that was the biggest one. I think that was the main one I tested compared to the just grabbing and going. But I think in the end, the best thing was like seeing the pile, picking what you can see from the pile, pick out the things you know. So I had a couple of favorite cats that I would try to like gravitate towards first. So like the bottom left, this guy.
Okay.
And then the white cat on the right. Those were my like kind of the cats I liked the most. And then the bottom right section, in general with the books, that was like a good anchor starting point for me. So if I saw those right away, I would try to pick them out. And then I build from that. But I think just trying to make groups from what you can see and then grabbing handfuls and going was what ended up being the fastest.
Sure.
So
so impressive.
Right? So when you finished the 17-minute round, did you do it a few times after?
Oh, yeah. I did it like probably another 20 times after just to see.
20 times?
But it was just not anywhere close. Like, it was close, but like there was just...
That was your record.
Yeah.
That was the one. Yeah. And we can see out here on the floor, our final team is coming up on the end of this puzzle here. And I have to say a big shout out to our competitors that persevere. Even if you're the last one on the floor, you still go and you finish out strong and you put your best foot forward. And they're definitely going to get this done, I feel, beneath the 90-minute mark.
Yeah, this is a great puzzle for that.
Yep, great puzzle.
Yeah, in the end, it's all the reds and oranges that we also ended, like, when we were just doing it for fun.
Yep, it seems that everybody was kind of ending up in that orange section there. I'm wondering what the most common start to it was.
I bet the greens, if I was going to pick. Yeah,
the matcha and the pistachio.
And also the blue one in the corner.
Yeah.
The bubble gum.
Yeah. And then I think the yellows was what I gravitated towards after those. So.
And do we typically see this with Cobble Hill puzzles, that the images are very sweet and very charming?
I think they have a variety. Like recently there's been a couple of these, like the food ones, and then like the cats, for example. But yeah, they're very like colorful, very fun.
Very fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, Arita, I want to know, are you doing the new one?
I've done it. So as part of the prize for winning this, I got a signed copy of the new one by the artist, which was really cool.
And it almost feels like homework.
I know. So I was like, okay, I have to do it. So I've done it like twice, but it takes a long time to get anywhere near. But I don't know if I'm going to commit as much as I did.
That was a heck of a commitment. Yeah.
It took a lot of my time.
Yeah. Were you doing any other puzzles at that same time?
Well, it was right before Nationals. So I'm like, what do I do?
Oh, yeah.
Do I practice what I should be practicing, or do I try to get number one on this?
Yeah, we've talked throughout this live stream that a lot of people seem to have gotten a lot better over the last year, and it looks like you're one of those people who's put in a lot of time and effort and really made a big difference. Were these skills that you put together on this puzzle, the speed puzzle, applicable to your regular day-to-day, or was it an entirely different set of skills?
I think it's mostly an entirely different, just because you're like actively memorizing every piece, but you're never going to get a chance to do that.
We've got our final team finishing out strong here.
So just to finish that off, and then we can let the live stream go. But so you're saying that those skills are a specific skill of their own.
So I think there's obviously some transferable skills, like just knowing that you can go that fast, like learning how to move that quickly. I think that helped a lot. And what's funny is like I memorized the cut of that. You talked about the cut of these puzzles often at this point, but I know the cut of that puzzle, the old Cobble Hill cut. So like I know I have the anchor pieces. So if I see it in the puzzle, like I've seen other puzzles after with the same cut as the Rainbow Cats, I'm like, oh, I know this one. And the first time I like was doing a puzzle and I saw it was exactly the same cut as the Rainbow Cats, it kind of tripped me out a little, because I was like, okay, I know this piece goes bottom left, and I was like, but I'm also trying to focus on the image, so it kind of like was confusing. But then once I knew how to use that a little better, I'm like, okay, I know these pieces are bottom left, so it did help with the specific cut of the Cobble Hill. But these ones are all the new cut, so you can kind of recognize. We were like, the first day when there was the Cobble Hill, we were zooming in and like, which cut is this?
Right.
And like we knew right away.
So you lost your advantage.
Yeah, but it's okay. It was still this one's more kind of uniform, so I think it's better for a speed puzzle overall. But it was fun.
You can find Irina on Instagram at iryna.puzzles. Next up, Xanthi Christidas talks about what it's like puzzling in Australia. Xanthi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Xanthi.
Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today.
Where are you calling in from, just so the folks know?
I'm in Australia, in Perth, which is the capital city of Western Australia, so I'm on the west coast.
Nice.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, we've got some celebration on the floor here. Lots of excitement happening here at the Portland Jigsaw Masters. So you are all the way in Perth, Australia. Why don't you let us know what time it is where you are?
It is almost 8:30 in the morning on Sunday, so I'm calling you from the future.
Oh, wow. Time traveling.
I was talking with the Aussie All-Stars the other day, and it was definitely like talking to the future. I was like, you guys you need to tell me what the stocks are going to be like.
Yeah.
So, Xanthi, you had mentioned that maybe it would be interesting to talk a little bit about how Australian puzzle competitions are different from U.S. competitions.
Yeah, I've noticed quite a difference. I mean, I understand that this competition is a bit different, and I've noticed a few differences. But first thing I want to say is that never have we been offered a cardigan as a prize. And I am so jealous because it's beautiful.
It's a beautiful piece.
And if I won it, I would wear it. I would show it off. Even though where I live, I'll probably go to window 1 month to wear it.
Sure,
because it's so hot here.
Yeah.
But I noticed that, you've got a whole 3-day event here, and our regional sort of state ones are all done in 1 day. We've only got 2 races. You either have the solo and the teams or pairs. You don't have all 3. Also, I noticed that you've got, like, everyone has a table to themselves, which we never have. I mean, obviously teams get a table, but if you're doing pairs or solo, you're crammed in sharing the table. The tables are close together.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's quite luxurious to look at this competition.
It really is, yeah.
I also noticed that you've got new puzzles, unreleased puzzles, and that's exciting.
Yes, we have one of our sponsors here, Cobble Hill Puzzles. They provided many of the puzzles this weekend. This one in particular is, I believe, called Cats versus Puzzles. So that is what our competitors are working on here. We had a beautiful puzzle that had not been revealed yet of sardines, a collection of sardines yesterday. And so, yeah, there's a large variety here from Cobble Hill Puzzles, and many of our competitors have commented on how much they love the cut of these puzzles, how much they love the way that they feel, and how they love the illustrations in particular, especially how colorful they can be.
Yeah, but I believe they brought 5 new puzzles to this competition, and that is, you're right, it's pretty rare. It's pretty exciting for us, actually, because fresh puzzles are kind of hard to come by.
I really want this one, and I'm hoping I can get it here in Australia. Cobble Hill is a little bit difficult to get here.
Sure.
But I love cats and I love puzzling, so this is right up my alley.
Now, my understanding is that maybe your nationals has potentially the biggest collection of people puzzling simultaneously, if not very close to that. Is that correct?
Yes, I went to nationals last year, and we had something like over 350 solo puzzlers puzzling all at once, which was really overwhelming. It was in a very large sort of basketball court, sports room. And I think this year they're going to be doing qualifiers, so we don't have that same situation, because it's quite difficult on the volunteers going around catching people's times.
Boy, you're not kidding.
You know, these competitions, everyone finishes so close together.
You must have to have so many volunteers for an event like that.
Yes. It's logistically, I think it was very tricky to pull off.
Now, Australia's a large space. Do you have to travel pretty far to go to competitions, especially if they're not in your own district?
Yeah. The nationals happen over in the eastern states. I live on the west coast, so I had to fly for about 4 or 5 hours over thousands of kilometres to get there. And I'm going again this year.
Nice job, the Puzzle Jail.
Puzzle Jail celebrating here on the floor.
So, Xanthi, how did you get into competitive puzzling?
Well, it turned out that the Australian Jigsaw Puzzle Association president, she actually lives here in Perth. She's no longer the president; she stepped down, but she was doing it for several years. I met her just at a local swap, and she was just starting it up, and I thought that looks interesting. And she actually was the one that introduced me to the whole concept of speed puzzling. I think most Australians didn't even know it was a thing until about 5 years ago.
Sure.
So that's how I got into it.
But Australia actually has a fairly well constructed series of competitions, I feel like, Australia's actually had competitions for longer than a lot of places.
Yeah, we have. Ours is quite interesting in that the association has a state competition in almost all of the state and territories here.
Yeah.
And they're quite uniform, and they're really nicely organised. And of course, then you have your little local sort of competitions popping up here and there as well, which is good to see.
Fantastic. And from what we understand, this is a sport that's really exploded over the last 4 or 5 years. Before that, only a couple of early adopters of this hobby turned sport. And now it is just spreading all over as it's so infectious, the joy, the teamwork, the camaraderie. Do you find that in Australia, I know that the community is starting to grow, the camaraderie, could you maybe talk a little bit about that and sort of the community?
Absolutely. I'm an early adopter. Like I went to the very first state speed puzzling competition that happened here in Western Australia because our president was here, and it was quite a small affair. And then I noticed each year I went to every single state competition, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And so we're still attracting more people. And then when I went to the Nationals last year, I was just astounded at how massive it was and how fiercely competitive, because the state ones, you still attract quite a few people who are new to it. They rock up with their snacks,
Yeah.
They sort of take their time, but it's getting, there's a core group that are very competitive, but I think it's growing in that, more people are getting into it.
Yeah, we did have a discussion about snacks earlier and what snacks are allowed and not allowed. We had a team consuming some Twizzlers or some Red Vines during this team's
I get the
setup.
sense, Xanthi, that you're not a snacks person in a competition.
I am. No snacks.
None allowed.
In our state competition here, my team came second. We were in it to win it.
Right.
Yeah, well done. Who else was on your team? Shout out to your team members.
Oh, a shout out to Vicky, Karen, and my partner Marcus. He's not a puzzler, but he got dragged into it, and he does pairs with me as well. So, yeah.
Husband.
We're well into it.
Husband.
You like a good husband who's willing to come in, or as I learned from the Canadian Devin Donaldson, a jignificant other.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, so it's nice. A lot of folks have. We talked about earlier on the live stream that I can't remember who it was, brought their sort of spouse along, and then as they got better, made friends with other people, their spouse sort of was able to drop off. And I've heard a lot of people, like elite people especially, be like, no offense, spouse of mine who's done a really great job of supporting me at this point, but I found people that I think I can maybe be more performant with.
Right.
I heard that from Rachel.
Lane from the Portland Puzzle Company chiming in, saying he heard that from Rachel.
Yeah, that's right. My wife, Rachel, who is now puzzling, she's the better puzzler of us anyways, is now puzzling without me, and I'm sure doing amazing. I'm supporting her, and she's supporting me.
Would you say she has a very large piece of your heart, Rob?
She's got pretty much all of it, yeah.
I wouldn't
Lane
do
like
that
that
to
one.
Marcus. My partner, he will puzzle with me to the end of time.
That's great. So
Sure.
do you have any designs on going to Worlds, or have you been before?
I haven't been. I wish I could go, but I think you can understand what a long trip it is and how expensive it is to fly from Australia to Spain. So unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen unless I win the lottery.
Right. I mean, there have been persistent rumors for years that it would be great for not. There have been rumors that if it were to move around the worlds, that Australia is a place that it could end up If it ended up in Australia, I assume you would be at that one.
I would be there in a heartbeat. I would probably compete and get knocked out in the first round, but that's okay because one thing I love about these events is like meeting people and catching up with your online puzzle friends and doing all the other activities that go with it. So yeah, it's not just about the competing, it's about the whole atmosphere really.
Absolutely. And so we're seeing a lot of really funny team names here. So, of course, we have our competitors that have already finished their puzzle here in the final, one of them being Rest in Pieces or the Puzzling Escape Artist, Keep Calm and Puzzle On. Do you have what's your team name for you and your friends that puzzle together?
We are called Pure Chaos.
Pure Chaos.
Tell me why.
Because I noticed when people were talking about their style of puzzling, I noticed that my style is just chaotic. It works, but it's pure chaos. And I suggested it to my teammates, and they said, yeah, that sounds good.
They said that's accurate.
It was kind of funny because in our state competition, our last piece was on the floor. So we were scrabbling around looking for our last piece. And the commentator says that we're experiencing pure chaos.
Right.
True.
Right.
So what about your approach is chaotic?
It kind of feels like I'm working on 5 different areas all at once when I'm solo puzzling. And I know some people are a bit more methodical, whereas I'm just chaotic, but it comes together fine for me. It's like being able to rub your tummy and tap your head. It's being able to do 2 different things or 5 different things with your brain all at once. And I think that's a skill.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you working in with just a whole bunch of puzzles and you're just working in amongst all of the pieces, or do you like separate them out and have a working space where you're working on several different parts?
We do sort of separate and work in different sort of spaces and areas. I guess there is some structure to it, but when you kind of like watching, it looks chaotic.
I got one last question for you. I've seen this logo. This is the Australian Jigsaw Puzzle Association. Can you explain to me what the logo is all about?
On the T-shirt or actually the
T-shirt
association logo?
Yeah,
the T-shirt. Yeah, it's just like a heartbeat, and then it's got a little jigsaw piece. So it means,
Love it.
You got puzzling in your heart.
Absolutely. And from what I understand, it's some great cardio because people's hearts beat very, very fast, especially when they're getting down to the wire.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Xanthi, where can people find more about you?
Well, I'm on Instagram and on YouTube under the handle In 2 Pieces, and that's IN the number 2 and _ pieces.
Very nice. We'll drop that in the chat for our spectators. And thank you so much for joining us all the way from Australia and from the future here at the Portland Jigsaw Masters.
This has been amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Sarah Barkowski joined me last August to talk about starting a jigsaw puzzle association in Florida. Sarah Barkowski, we first met, if memory serves, at the last U.S. Nationals waiting in line together. And that's where I learned that you were involved in the Florida JPA.
Yes.
I'm curious if you could tell me what even made you want to get involved in such a thing. And then maybe we could talk about how that even works.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted there to be more speed puzzling events. We have a really active puzzle community in Florida, particularly in Central Florida where I live. Mm-hmm. So like yesterday I was at a swap and there were almost 100 people there. And that's super unusual. That's not super unusual right now in Florida to have, really big, well-attended swaps. But we didn't have a ton of speed puzzling. And so after a couple months of me kind of going around and be like, hey, someone should host a speed puzzling competition, and like telling like librarians and puzzle people like, hey, have you heard of any speed puzzling competitions? It'd be real cool if someone did it. I realized that if I wanted there to be speed puzzling competitions, that I would need to start hosting them. So I started hosting a few near me. And then when USA JPA said they were interested in helping states to have their own organizations, I was in a position to do that pretty well. I was like, okay, I have some of these connections. I'm already working on planning. So that led to me being president of the newly formed Florida Jigsaw Puzzle Association.
Well, congrats on being the president of an organization that you seem to have founded. Tell me a little bit about how your first puzzle events went before you even considered having a Florida JPA.
Yeah, so I think that the hardest part was finding a venue. I listened to Peace Talks, heard so many people talk about their hosting events, and just, for whatever reason in our area, there just weren't a ton of venues that were great for speed puzzling. Either they were too small, not enough tables, lighting, the price was too high for what I wanted to charge puzzlers to come and hang out. But I managed to find a good venue. I was at a local church for a board game event, and they were like, they're looking for people to rent this. I'm like, great. Perfect. So I was able to rent it. And then I just started posting that I was having an event. The first one, I think people were a little skeptical of. They're like, what is this? Why am I giving you money? Am I going to show up and there's actually going to be puzzles there? But after the first one, which was November 2024, I did the next one in March 2025. And that March one sold out within maybe 48 hours. Wow. So it was definitely, and again, we're talking selling out at that point, like 12 teams. So not a huge venue, but still enough to make it really feel exciting for the competitors.
So did you have a sense that there were a lot of people out there already who were going to be interested when the competition started up? Because it sounds like you were interested yourself, but I couldn't catch whether there were a lot of other people that you knew of that were also interested. Obviously, nobody was taking up your request to start a competition on their own. How big was the audience in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I figured they had to be out there, but I hadn't found any of them yet from talking. So I was like, I bet they're out there. And I would say still at most of my competitions, I've hosted 3 so far, half the group is new to speed puzzling. This is their first ever, or sometimes their first ever in person, because they've maybe done some speedpuzzling.com ones. Jonathan has done a Florida state championship twice now, so some people have joined that. But for a lot of them, they're like, I've been puzzling for years. Kind of the classic story. My friends told me I was fast. Let's go ahead and give it a try. And so it's really nice to be able to offer that to people to be like, hey, and this seems fun. And then I've had a good number come back as well.
So did you just post this on Facebook and Instagram? Is that how you got people's attention?
So I did Facebook primarily. I also, I went to puzzle events and I'd ask the organizers, swaps. I'd be like, hey, can I make a little announcement at the beginning? I handed out flyers, some libraries. I also, our local city paper, I put a free online ad there. Just try and get the word out. And then another big thing was I did put it on the USA JPA website, and nationals had occurred fairly recently. So I do think there were a number of people similar to me who had just been at home watching nationals, maybe filling out their Peace Talks bracket, trying to beat UNEB. And we're like, when can I do this in person? And so, because USA Nationals, they have events that they're not hosting, but a list on the website. So I know a couple people found out about it through the Nationals website. I guess it was Worlds. Sorry, that just happened, not Nationals, but yeah.
Okay. I was going to ask if it was the previous year's Nationals, but Worlds makes sense. So you got some potentially skeptical, but willing to give something a try folks the first time, sold out the second time. What about the third time? Did you move up to a bigger venue, move up to a bigger size?
So for the third time, we split into multiple rounds. So for the first 2, we just did teams. That seemed to me the most approachable. It's like, hey, bring your friends. You're not having a ton of pressure on you to be the fastest puzzler. I think people came like, yeah, I'll just hang out, have fun. But I know some people were like, oh, I don't worry about getting grouped together, or they really wanted to test themselves as an individual puzzler. So I ended up having a teams of 4 round, and then at the same time, the second round was individuals and pairs. ranked separately, but they had the same puzzle and were competing at the same time.
Sounds like those were building on success every time. You were creating the snowball that you wanted to see in Florida.
Yeah. And the snowballs continued. So the next thing is our state championship.
And when is that?
So that is going to be October 19th is going to be the Florida in-person state championship. And we're going to have individual, 3 separate rounds. So we're going to have individuals, pairs, and teams of 4 for that.
That's amazing. So is this just through the Florida JPA, or is this affiliated with speedpuzzling.com? How does this come to be?
This one's just going to be through Florida JPA.
Okay.
As we're planning this event. So we're looking into maybe in future years having a sanctioned event through USA JPA, maybe collaborating with speedpuzzling.com. But there was one in Florida at the beginning of the year. It was 10 days in January, I think. So there technically was a Florida State Championship online, but this is the Florida in-person State Championship. And we will have all 3 rounds.
I'm fascinated by the fact that there are a lot of sort of state level activities coming into being. I do wonder how the Jonathan Clough with speedpuzzling.com has done state in-person things. Any idea how those are going to relate to state JPA related things?
I don't know. We've collaborated with him on his Super Saturdays. Mm-hmm. So, and certainly open to discussing in the future. For this one, we kind of wanted to figure out the logistics ourselves and be able to just make it happen. We're we want to do it this year. We don't want to overcomplicate it, but we want it to be a good event for all the attendees.
So at some point you had heard that the USA JPA was taking state level JPA applications. Mm-hmm. What made you decide to jump on that rather than continuing to do what you were doing?
I think it was, I don't know. I was excited about puzzling. I don't know.
It doesn't have to be a better answer than that. That seems like a pretty great answer.
I don't know. I don't know. It seemed obvious. I don't know. It wasn't really, it was just oh, well, I guess I'll do that. And, I posted in the speed puzzling Facebook group I had made for Florida. I was hey, who wants to be on the board with me? And so I managed to find a group. I have a wonderful treasurer and secretary, and then also a leadership team. So it's been very nice working with other people with other strengths, all very organized people, all puzzlers. So very, very easy to work with.
Were these people that you had met along the way or known prior to your forays in your own kind of puzzle competitions? Or are these people who you met as bringing the Florida JPA together?
Met as bringing the Florida JPA together. And I think I don't think I've met either of them in person yet. So classic, puzzle friendships. We, spent a lot of time on Zoom since I'm in Central Florida. So one of the nice things about our board and leadership team is we're all across the state, which is nice. Great for planning events, but is hard for getting to meet each other. So we'll certainly see each other in October for our state championships. And that'll be nice too, to get some time together.
Is there a quick and dirty list of things you can tell us about what is required to become a state JPA?
Yeah, you need to have at least 3 members who are also USA JPA members. You need to have bylaws. You need to be a nonprofit in your state. So every state's going to have their own. And then you have to host at least 3 events a year. I believe are the things I know. USA JPA would know.
Yeah,
they're still figuring out a lot of stuff.
We're having a casual conversation. This is just to give people a broad sense of things. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if you out there in the listening world want to start your own state GPA, probably worth first checking to see if one is already in progress, because it seems like there are a lot of them out there. But check out the USA JPA site or reach out to them directly. I know that they're doing a lot of work to actively make this happen. And, a lot of that could be in flux as they learn some things. Do you happen to know if there's any actual JPAs that have gone through all the process, or is it still too early for anyone to have emerged? There's
a couple that are a little further ahead in the process, but no one is 100% finalized yet. Mm-hmm. In the monthly newsletter, they have a map, And on the map, you can see where different states are, if they are in the like almost there, if they are the in process, or they're the people are interested.
The thing I got to ask about all of this is that you enjoy puzzling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what you've done is introduced yourself into a whole series of places where you can't actually participate, I imagine. How do you feel about that?
It's not my favorite. I'll say that.
You're making puzzling happen.
Yes. So, and that is something when I had the first board meeting, I did say, hey, one of my goals for this is I want to have a state competition. If you come along with me on this, you probably can't compete. So just starting out, you probably can't compete. That's what it means to be like one of the named board members. So some of our leadership team will be able to compete. They will not know what the puzzle is. It'll be secret, all of that. But the few of us who do know what the puzzle images are and have decided and are hitting more of the logistics, we can't compete. I will say I'm not the fastest puzzler either. So it's not like I would be winning all of these. But I did go to a library competition yesterday, which was my first in-person competition other than nationals in about a year that I got to do. And my team won. So that was a fun little treat. So I'm very much a library competition level puzzler. And it's nice when those pop up. And I think the fact that I've been doing some of these events has led to some more other events as well.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you. If you're interested in learning more, make sure that you follow us on Instagram at Florida JPA or our website, floridajpa.org. But yeah, we're doing a speed run as well. That's the other thing. Until the end of August, we picked a puzzle and you can do it as many times as you want and post your times. I'll shout out Karen Nill, who is our Florida state champion and currently leading the speed run with a sub 20-minute time on a 300-piece puzzle. Okay. And yeah, but it's still very, very impressive. A couple people are trying to catch up, but we're very excited to have her. She's lovely. I've met her in person. Actually, my first competition that I hosted, Karen Nill showed up, and I was like, whoa, I didn't realize this level of competition at the first one. But I know she was excited to have an in-person competition. It was great to meet her. Oh, I'll say if you want to follow just me, Sarah, my Instagram is Puzz, the letter N, Fuzz and Fuzz, which represents the fact that my house is full of puzzle dust and cat fur, as I have lots of foster kittens and also puzzles.
Jose Salinas may have discovered a passion for puzzling, but it's not his only obsession. Jose Salinas, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to start by sort of understanding how you got into jigsaw puzzling in the first place.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I've been puzzling all my life. I remember since I was 5 years old, probably back in Ecuador. I'm originally from Ecuador. So I used to live in my grandma's house, and there I had those wooden puzzles that had really big like pieces, and I think it was a Tom and Jerry puzzle, something like that. But since then, I always liked it. Some Legos, but mostly puzzles. Yep.
And were you into puzzles your entire life, or did you fall away from it for a while and come back?
Pretty much all my life, on and on. After I came to the United States, I started, a little bit more busy, like working, and then after that, I went to school. So I was going to school, working, and I didn't have much time. Whenever I could, I'll grab one from a Walgreens or Walmart every once in a while, but nothing crazy until 2023.
And what happened in 2023?
That's when I think everyone has found this same story. I've heard at least from your podcast, Karen's Puzzles. I found her YouTube channel, and then I saw about speed puzzling. I was like, I always love puzzling. So finally, I'm going to take a look at it. I saw it. I went November right after Black Friday, I think it was. I went and I saw the groupies option. So I bought the groupies option for 2024. So that's when I said, yep, speedpuzzling.com.
And so how has that been for you?
I mean, I enjoy it. and it was funny because during the Portland competition in the chat they were talking about some puzzlers not being the fastest, and I was one of them. I was like, yeah, I've tried. I enjoy joining the Zoom and the competitions, but I still cannot get the 300 puzzle under. I think my best has been 45 minutes. I think for a 300 piece, and the 500 I think is like the fastest was like 1 hour and a half. So I'm not there, but I'm still trying.
Yeah, I mean that's actually relatively speedy. You're there solidly with some of us. I'm actually a little behind that. My wife is right at that same level, so I know what it's like to puzzle at that. Well, I theoretically know what it could be like to go that fast, but you're outpacing me. So have you ever done anything live?
Not in person. I know I'm planning on going to the Florida State Championships. That is going to be in October 19th, I think it is. I saw the post the other day that the registration is already up. They said that it was at the end of July. So yeah, I'm gonna sign up for that one.
Yeah, I was just talking to Sarah Barkowski, who will show up probably right before this in the episode, who's started the Florida Jigsaw Puzzle Association. It sounds like there is a good and growing population of speed puzzlers in Florida. Now, understanding Florida is a pretty long state, so just because somebody's in Florida doesn't mean they're near you. The impression I got from Sarah is that there are a fair amount of players out there that are starting to participate in speed puzzling. My understanding is that speed puzzling hasn't been your only hobby. You've had some interesting hobbies in the past. You want to tell me a little bit about that?
Oh yeah. Since I was a kid, I never wanted a 9 to 5 job. Let's say. When I was in Ecuador, I loved watching wrestling. That's actually how I learned how to speak and read and write in English.
Is
it
that
was
right?
by watching wrestling on cable TV over in Ecuador. And actually, my mom was living here, so she sent me a little translator. And back in the day, the translator was just like a little calculator that you put the word in English and it will translate it to Spanish. So that's how I used to do like the results of wrestling. I used to go online, find the result in English, and translate it word by word in Spanish. So that's how I learned how to read English and stuff like that by watching wrestling. So that's something that I have loved all my life. And when I came to the United States, I was like, I want to be a wrestler. So I went to wrestling school. I trained for about a year or two. I did it, but it was rough. It's rough in your body.
Really? So tell me a little bit more about what it takes to be a wrestler, because I have watched a little bit of wrestling. The folks seem to be actually in pretty good shape, and I've seen Mexican wrestling where it seems like they're also in good shape. I don't know what the wrestling is like in Ecuador, but so tell us a little bit about sort of what wrestling is like and how it works on your body.
Yeah, well, in Ecuador, there's not much. It's pretty much what we watch, like WWE here and stuff like that. So, you have to be in shape. You have to have cardio because running those ropes in those rings are really like I think like 14, 16 feet. So you have to run around and you have to work with somebody else that is like 200 pounds, 250 pounds, and make sure that you know what you're doing. You have to lift weights, you have to eat right, and one movement or something, you can either injure the other person, injure yourself, or worse. Yep.
So you tried it for a little while. You put some real effort into it. It didn't work out?
No, I tried it, I liked it, but it's really rough, and I'm married, so at that time it was like, that is gonna take a lot, and it was during like 2008, 2009 when everything, the economy wasn't good. So even to go to a wrestling school it was really expensive. So I couldn't afford going to school, going to a wrestling school and stuff like that.
So has competitive jigsaw puzzling filled that void in your heart, or is there always a space for wrestling that'll never get filled?
There's always that little thing in the back of my mind saying at least one more match, especially because I have two daughters now, that I didn't have back in 2010. And they're at the age, actually, my daughter's birthday is tomorrow. So she's going to be 10 years old, and I have a 7-year-old. So I want them to see me wrestle at least once, so they can see, hey, my dad is not that old.
Do you have a wrestling name?
Well, since I'm from Ecuador, it was my name, Jose, the Ecuadorian Pride Salinas.
Oh, all right. I like that.
Yeah, and I had the gear made like with the Ecuadorian Pride like sign in the back, and it had the yellow, blue, and red color, which is the color of the flag from Ecuador.
Yeah. So is that what you're going to wear to your first live competition in jigsaw puzzling?
Maybe. Yeah. I still have it in the closet, so maybe I'll bring one of those out of the closet. Yeah.
That would be amazing. So are there any, I can't imagine what they would be, but I have to ask, are there any skills that transfer over from wrestling into competitive jigsaw puzzling?
I don't think so.
It's a very different feeling kind of part of your body, right? It's like you're engaging a different part of your brain, I imagine. You're engaging your body in a different way. In some ways, I can imagine they're sort of complementary.
Well, yeah, and in a way, the only way that I can think that maybe they relate is that when you're wrestling, when you're in front of people, when you're in front of a crowd, the biggest one was 500 people that I wrestled in front of. And you have to pay attention to what the crowd is signaling, as well as what you're doing in the ring, what you're doing with your opponent, and things like that. So you have to be always present. So maybe that you have to have concentration at the same time that you're going everywhere.
Well, and I definitely know that folks who go to a larger competition for the first time can be really distracted by both the noise of the people around them, but also the cameras and the little bit of spectacle that we have going on. It sounds like you might be more immune to that kind of thing.
Probably. But even I know that any competition is always like you're going to have the butterflies in your belly. And that was every time before I went to a wrestling match, even if it was like 10, 20, 50 people, there's always like, you wait for that time. I think it will be the same if you're live on a puzzling competition. They're like, we're going to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's the same as behind the curtain, you're waiting for your entrance song to play. So you're like waiting there. And once it hits, it's like, it's go time. And you're like, now we have to do it.
Well, I'm really excited to hear how your first live competition in jigsaw puzzling goes, to see if you feel like there are a lot of those butterflies, if they feel different, if you're able to sort of get control of things pretty easily. And if you end up wearing an outfit, like that seems like that's going to be a pretty great combination.
Yep, definitely will be. We'll see how it goes.
Awesome. Well, Jose, where can people follow your exploits in the puzzling / wrestling adjacent world?
Well, right now, I started my Fit Puzzle Zone is in Instagram. Actually, I started in TikTok first, and then I went to Instagram. But I have Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok with Fit Puzzle Zone because I like puzzles and I like fitness. So I wanted to complement both of those and put them together.
Is it fair to say that we won't see a lot of fitness and puzzle combined activities on that be separate fitness and puzzle related things?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe once in a while I'll put some fitness there, but mostly is focused on puzzling, at least.
Well, it is definitely interesting that I know that there are elite level folks who do fitness exercises so that they can puzzle better, right? So that they're working on their core so that they can be sort of leaned over. So maybe you should start an official program for puzzle related fitness.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really good idea.
So people can find you at Fit Puzzle Zone on TikTok and Instagram.
TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and I even created a Facebook page. So everywhere, all the socials.
Last up is Janice Tan, who lives in Australia, but was preparing to represent Malaysia at the World's competition. Janice Tan, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Rob.
Where are you coming in from?
I am dialing in from Sydney, Australia.
Sydney, Australia. All right. So I think that we had Xanthi on the live stream, and I think she's on the other side of Australia, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it is many hours flight away from us.
Yes, it turns out Australia is quite large.
Yes, I think sometimes we forget and we fly around to different states. It's an hour and a half, 2 hours, but I think we forget that in Europe, that's many different countries.
First of all, tell me a little bit about your current experience with competitive jigsaw puzzling. How did you get into it, and what do you do now?
I think like many people on your podcast, I think it came about probably really on 2023. I think I just wandered into a speed puzzle competition because I think somebody on a Facebook swap group said that my very, very fast time of 2 hours and 40 minutes on a 500 revs would be suitable for a speed competition. So I was like, well, I'll just rock up.
Wait, how did you even know to have a time? So were you timing yourself?
I think this person was doing a practice run and she was timing herself. So I was like, I wonder what my time is.
Uh-huh. And what did you find?
I came to this competition and I got my behind royally showed to me. Turns out in Australia, it's 3 hours for 500, or back then it was. Mm-hmm. And I finished. I remember one of the judges walking past and the volunteer, she was saying, "It's okay, you'll finish in time." And I'm going, this is not what I expected when I came to a speed puzzling competition.
And so this was in 2023?
And I think it was, I came 127th out of, I think maybe 160 people in a New South Wales state competition.
Okay, that's not terrible, but you had different expectations.
I just don't like being...
But that didn't dissuade you because you're still doing competitive jigsaw puzzling, I imagine?
So I came back a year later and I hadn't had much time to practice. I think I was working a really difficult job. And so there wasn't much time. I did okay, but it still wasn't good enough. And by that point, I'd absolutely fallen in love with the sport. And I think, similar to Rihanna, I spent pretty much the whole week watching the world's live stream at 3 a.m. in the morning and not really focusing on much else in life. And so I made the choice that, I want to go and check out this really fun event. So a year ago, I was like, okay, well, you can't just show up at Worlds and get kicked out, like not even complete, right? Which is still a possibility, but we'll see what happens this year.
So you're going to Worlds this year?
I am.
Is this your first Worlds then, I imagine, right? So what made you just decide that, despite the fact that it sounds like you have higher expectations than your current skill is able to execute, what made you decide to want to go?
Because it just looked like a lot of fun and the people just... I think my husband said something along, it sounds like you found a whole bunch of people that are like you.
That's a very powerful thing. I know quite a lot of people who go to competitions primarily to be amongst people who are like them, like people they didn't know there could be other people out there, much less a giant gathering of them. So that reflects sort of the way you're thinking about it as well?
Yes, but also I think the journey of preparing to go to Worlds this last year has been really, really fun. And I think because I was going to Worlds, I made a lot of effort to reach out to different people and to get to know different people online. But also I had the opportunity of traveling quite a bit for work this year. So I got to meet people in different countries.
So now do you have a pair partner and team that you're going with?
I do. I have a pair partner from Indonesia. His name is Arya. I actually diverted a little trip back home to Malaysia. So I am from Malaysia and I will be competing under Malaysia. But I diverted a little trip home via Indonesia to meet him and to puzzle with him just to see how we would go before we committed. And it went really, really well. I think a lot of people don't realize that it's really difficult to meet other speed puzzlers in Asia. because the competition circuit isn't very developed, and the communities that do speed puzzling are very, very small and difficult to find.
Yeah, it has been a long observation that Asian communities don't seem to be well represented in the jigsaw puzzle world. And I don't really have an idea of why that is, if it's just that the idea of competitive jigsaw puzzling hasn't penetrated the psyche the same way for sort of the Asian countries, or if it's a mostly logistics problem. Do you have any idea as to why we don't see more Japanese, Chinese, etc. folks?
Jigsaw puzzling is not really a hobby. It's not a common activity in Asia. So I understand that for a lot of European countries, it's really common for families to puzzle together, especially over summer holidays or on
Winter
weekends.
Holidays, yeah.
We don't really have that as a thing in I think most parts of Asia. And also, when I reflect on my childhood, I don't remember any puzzles at all. And I come from a fairly middle class, slightly westernized family. But puzzles are not an easily available toy for children in Asia. Even now, Ravensburgers are an expensive puzzle in many, many parts of Asia. So it's quite an inaccessible pastime.
Yeah, I've heard variations of that for Europe as well, but it sounds like in Europe if Ravensburgers are potentially prohibitively expensive, at least especially for sort of casual play, but there are other brands that maybe are cheaper in certain places in Europe. Asia just doesn't have that tradition at all. It's not you're not sitting by the fire in the winter with the family doing a jigsaw puzzle. So how did you come across jigsaw puzzling?
Oh, like many people in COVID, I think, you don't really have very much to do, especially in Australia when we had our lockdowns. And so I started doing these random jigsaw puzzles. I think there was this completely black, white, and gray map of London that my husband had bought. And I just sat there on the floor for hours, putting piece after piece in, looking and like, where is blah blah borough?
Did you learn a lot about London?
I have completely forgotten everything since.
Excellent. So that was your first puzzle. It sounds hard, but it doesn't sound like it kept you away. You sort of revisited the concept from time to time.
I think I quite like the meditative aspect of puzzling. I recently discovered that my heart rate drops when I puzzle.
Really?
So I go into a very calm state of, well, I'm just going to put this here and here and here.
And what made you decide to take the calm state away and get into competitive jigsaw puzzling?
I think it's just my nature.
You're a competitive individual?
Sometimes. It really depends on the challenge and whether I'm interested in it or not. I actually really, really love the whole personal challenge of, what can I do to make this better? How did I do there? What was I thinking when I did this?
So you're not puzzling for Australia?
Yeah, so I think it's just by the nature of how you register for Worlds, and you have to put in your passport and nationality.
Got it. So you're not going to be wearing the fancy green outfits that the Australians wear.
I like that the Australian Association is aware of its members and that they may not be going under Australia, but they treat them as members of the Australian Association. And so,
is that right?
Yeah, and so I have ordered my green and gold t-shirt. I do spend a lot of time with the Australian puzzle community. It is my day-to-day.
Yeah. That is amazing. The more I hear about the Australian Jigsaw Puzzle Association, the more I love it. They seem to be doing an excellent job of fostering a community in the best possible way. It seems to be tapping into some sort of Australian pride, which also exists out there. So I love that you're technically competing under a different flag, but they're adopting you or bringing you into the fold anyway.
Yes. My team is also going to be an Australian team. So we are puzzling with Ari and I. Even though we go under Asian flags, we are still puzzling as a team with 2 other Australians. And that would be great.
Who are the other Australians?
So it's a guy called Jonathan. I've met him once when I went up to Queensland to do a puzzle marathon. and a guy called Jason. And Jason, everybody in Australia knows Jason. He does a lot of the technical setup for all our competitions.
Do you have a team name?
No, we haven't come up with one yet. We're trying to figure out how to incorporate many different aspects and whether we want it to be funny or sarcastic.
Is there something that you're looking forward to most about Worlds?
I think it really is to just meet and watch people that I've been obsessed with on Instagram for months.
So who's the person you're maybe most obsessed with, or who's the top few?
I think they're the names that everybody knows. Kathy, Victor, Kiara, many of the people that you've interviewed.
They're all great, by the way. You should absolutely meet them. There's not one of them that will disappoint.
I have to say, one of my greatest joy this year was to meet Andrea Pang.
How did you meet her?
She had a playlist on her Instagram profile, and I spent many months listening to that playlist while I practiced puzzling. And so I reached out to her, and I happened to be in San Francisco earlier this year, so she was so lovely. She invited me to her home, and we spent, a few hours chatting and puzzling. It was probably one of the highlights of that trip. She is such a lovely, lovely person.
So you've met Andrea, so you've got a few other people to check off your list now that you're going to be at Worlds.
Yes, I think Kiara is the one I'm excited about because she loves marathons, puzzle marathons.
Oh, yeah. Do you do puzzle marathons?
We did one recently, and I really enjoyed it. I think I'm more of a marathon than a speed puzzler.
Sure. Yeah. I think you could take a different approach to it. And I think, I might be incorrect, but I think that Kiara, Kati, and Victor are all on the same team together.
They are.
So you might be able to meet them all at once. So prepare yourself.
I don't know what to do. I'm like, should I cheer? I still want to cheer the Aussie All-Stars on.
Absolutely. I mean, the great thing about the puzzling community is that everybody cheers on everybody else. So it's not like you have to be special. And the Aussie All-Stars are fabulous. I was talking to somebody the other day and they were like, yeah, Australia's fine. But after I listened to that episode with the Aussie All-Stars, they convinced me that Australia is pretty great.
I like that the community here is so supportive and fun. And you just hear the laughter in that episode.
Yeah, they were fun people. Anything else that we should talk about before I let you go?
For me, I would like to see more Asian representation. I wonder what people could do to support that. I know there are many young associations in Asia setting up competitions. Also, I think there are different variations of speed puzzling that are happening, especially in China, with the random competitions and the different formats. Yeah, so I think for me, it would be really interesting to see where things go and how we see more representations from different parts of the world. Africa, again, another underrepresented continent.
Yeah, and even though there is some representation in South America, I feel like there's a lot of opportunity there as well. So you're right. It's going to be amazing when people from all over the world participate in events like this, especially because that will give us an opportunity to see potentially even greater players than we have ever seen.
And I think maybe new formats or different formats.
Is there a format that you love that isn't popular yet?
No, I have yet to come up with an amazing new race. I quite like puzzle relays.
Oh, yeah.
Those are fun.
Well, Janice Tan, thank you for joining me. Where can people follow you?
I'm on Instagram, even though it's not a very puzzle focused account. It is Intrepid Jan Tan.
And I imagine you will be documenting your journey to Worlds so we can all see it?
Probably a little bit. I think from the excitement, I need to share this with everyone.
All right, Janice, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Peace Talks. You can follow the podcast on Instagram at peace_talks, and you can send email to peacetalkscast@gmail.com.